All right, so it's about 9:02, and we'll go ahead and get started. I know folks will start joining. I know these Zoom meetings are never easy if you're not familiar with them, and some folks have technical difficulties getting in. But I'll let folks join in as they get in. But I know we have others have other conflicts on their schedule, so to be courteous to everyone's time, we'll go ahead and get started. So my name is Sean Smith. I'm one of the committee members of the MDFOC, and we'd like to welcome you to our 2021 virtual clinic. We really appreciate those of you who are willing to participate this year, and those of you, the clinicians that are willing to help us out. You know, what we went through last year with the pandemic and still in the pandemic, our thoughts and prayers are out to those of you with families that were affected by that nasty virus. But and we weren't, of course, able to do anything, but we wanted to have something to stay relevant, to stay in contact and stay in touch with everyone, with the hopes that we'll continue to have some football this fall, and try to give back. For those of you who have participated before, our goal with the MDFOC is to give back to our local officials in this area, as well as other officials across the country. We have we have a lot of experience. A lot of us have traveled the same paths and roads that you have traveled, and it's upon us to make sure that we give back and share the information that we have learned along the way to help you achieve some of the goals that you have in officiating, and also to become a better official. Um, the players are staying the same age, and we're aging, and we have to do what we can to make sure that we're getting better. Um, we're working with the MHSAA and trying to help them, get better in training their officials, trying to understand and help provide some knowledge on seven-man mechanics. We're just trying to help improve officiating at the high school level in the best way that we can. Today we have a packed agenda. We got a lot of great presenters, a lot of good information that we want to share with you. So hopefully, you're ready to learn some good information. It's people have sacrificed their time, so I'm very excited about what we have on deck today. Um, Again, we want to just help you continue to grow within the game. We all have to continue to grow no matter what level you're working. You all have to continue to try to get better, because the game is changing, as we know. I mean, the running back is almost like a dinosaur these days in today's game. So it's changing, so we have to change and adapt, and be as flexible as possible as it relates to the to football. So again, we welcome everyone on the Zoom today, and those who are yet to join that are joining. And like I said, we're going to have a great time today. If you have any issues or anything, don't use the chat and reach out to one of us, Phil, Harold, Galen, or myself, and let us know. If you have any questions or concerns. But Galen, I don't know if there's anything else that you want to add before we go ahead and get started.
No, just please make sure you throughout the day keep your um, screens on mute unless you're speaking. If you have any, like Sean said, we have people minding the chats in each session. If you have any questions, reach out in the chat. We have some of the best officials in the country today, so please do not leave here today without your question being answered.
Yeah. And the one technical thing I'll add is, in the agenda, as we put all the hyperlinks. So for those of you who click through your agenda to get to this meeting, when you need to get to your other breakout session, if you just go back to that agenda, you should be able to easily use that link to get to your breakout session. And sometimes you can just hit the back button if you're using Edge or Google Docs or whatever from the Zoom meeting to help you get back and forth. So with that, we'll introduce and have Bill Carollo, who's the supervisor of the COC, the Big Ten, share a few words. He's, two-time Super Bowl officials, one of the best, coordinators in the country, and has done a lot for football officiating as a whole, no matter what level. And we're honored to have him, for a few minutes this morning to give us some nuggets and share some information and to introduce our presenter today, guest speaker. I'm sorry. Bill, turn it over to you.
Thanks, Sean. I appreciate the opportunity. And before I begin, I really want to thank and recognize what you and the committee have done with the MDFOC. I think it's been wonderful where you started and where we're going with this. And it's really a team project. I know that. But primarily, I know that Galen has taken the lead on it and with a strong committee. And I won't recognize everybody because you'll hear from the rest of the folks. But just it's a wonderful thing. And we hear a lot about giving back and doing something for the game. And if you take a look at all of our presenters today and take a look at what they've been doing the last 20 to 30 years on the field, off the field, it's pretty impressive. And really, you have to ask if you're just starting out at high school, you want to ask yourself, well, how do I get there? What's the path? And that's really the purpose of this session here. And I really like the underlying theme. The number one thing that we talk about is mechanics. We're going to 7-man mechanics and how we're going to do that. And so you've got the best people, the best trainers really in the country to help you figure that out. And those are things that you can control. And I just want to touch on some things that too many times we worry about things we can't control. Think about the things that you can control. You can't control the coaches. You can't, the surprise play. You don't know what's coming. Sure, you can prepare for it, some of those things, but it's really a roadmap, if you will, sessions like this. And it's to connect with other people that have been successful. But you have to ask, why do some make it and some don't make it? What's the difference between those? And I think officiating is really pretty simple. And I think we make it many times too complicated. But I'll tell you what, it's not easy. And it just takes one play to trip us up and make it pretty hard. And we're pretty hard on ourselves. But there are a lot of things you can control yourself that take zero talent. Talent is a God-given gift, if you will. And not all of us have, as an athlete, the brains, the smarts, the connections, et cetera. But there's a lot of things that require zero talent that you can control. They'll make you a really, really good official, maybe an exceptional official, maybe one of our best officials, right? And it's the simple things, and you've heard it all before, but be on time. If there's a meeting, be on time, be a few minutes early, have a strong work ethic. These are things that your mom and dad told us, right? Give it some effort, make a commitment. A lot of times we get into it. Yeah, this might be fun. This might be a good idea. Let's try this. But you have to start, make sure you have a game plan. What do you want to do? How are you going to do it? And if you're not sure, this is exactly, so I commend you for jumping on calls like this, clinics like this, because this is where you're going to learn. And this is part of making that extra effort on a Saturday morning, giving up family time, work time, whatever it might be that you'd be doing, and how you look and how you act and how you present yourself. Professionalism, really important. You can control that. We are who we are, but certainly staying in good shape, your body language, getting along with people, but setting those goals, that should be part of it. It's not like your goal should not be, I want to be like Sean, I want to be an NFL official. I want to be like a John Parry, Ron Torbert, et cetera. You have to set your goals, but figure out how you can be the best you can be, because we don't have all the talent. We're not born with it, but there's some things that, as I said, you can control. And one of the biggest thing is attitude. You can bring that to the table. If you have the right attitude, I don't care if you make a couple mistakes. Don't make the same mistake over and over again. But attitude is, again, something that you can control. It doesn't take talent to change your attitude, having a strong passion, and be coachable. So if you want to find a mentor, you want to get better, find out who's the best at your position in your area, develop that relationship with one of these clinicians, let's say, and work through that, because they will help you. They're giving up time. They're really successful. They do not have to do this. They're doing it because they want to do it, and they want to help you because they remember when they were your age, just starting out high school, small college, getting into, the mid majors, if you will, and trying to move up. So there's a lot of things that don't take any talent, doing the extra work. And probably the number one thing that I would say And I think all your clinicians, all the successful people have it. And your next speaker, your keynote speaker, if I had to pick, and I talk to a lot of people because I know John quite well, but and there's a lot of people that, I'd say, give me one word about John Parry. What's your first word that comes to your mind? And I wrote a couple of them down. I talked about, a handful of people. Selfless, respected, authentic, reliable, passionate, loyal. A lot of ways to describe your keynote speaker. But the number one thing, in my opinion, my experience with John over the last 25, 30 years is preparation. John is more prepared, always ready, on the field, off the field, in business, with the family, organized. He always has a plan. And I think a lot of times we don't have a plan. We just hope the ball bounces the right way. We hope we make that putt. We hope that they don't hit the bottom of the ninth inning, hit a hard shot to your backhand. So preparation, but preparation puts you in a position to win. And if you don't prepare, and I think that you'll find that John Parry is probably the most prepared person in everything that he does. And that's the difference. And that's not a God-given talent. That's just doing it, thinking about it, making a plan, having a mission, set some goals, figure out a way, because it's never going to bounce always the right way for you. But if you're prepared, you're going to eliminate about 90% of those train wrecks, if you will, in our game. So John, as you know, has done a lot, in the Midwest, in the Big Ten, in the NFL, 3 Super Bowls. You can go on, but his trademark, and you'll find out with today's talk, is his preparation. He understands the game. He understands John and I have made a lot of big mistakes, and I'll take the full credit for the mistakes in the NFL. We've had a lot of games where I'm, reviewing the wrong play and reversing calls in the field, and it wasn't even the right play. How bad is that? But I'm not here to tell you a lot of stories about my career, but how you overcome those mistakes, that's what your supervisors, your coordinators, that's what they look at, because we're human. There's only 2 perfect people in the world, and that's your maker and your mother. Other than that, we make mistakes all the time. So I have no issue with making mistakes, over learning from those mistakes, listening to your mentors, and John is one of them. And I've had the privilege to work with John and privilege to work with his dad at the same time in the NFL. And of course, I followed John's father in the Big Ten. And it was because of John's dad that I left the Big Ten early after 20 years and decided at 56, I'm going to go back to college. And I just think you're in a wonderful position with the people that you have in this clinic, and hearing from the John Parrys, the Ron Torberts, et cetera. You don't get that anywhere. And usually if you do get it, you pay for it. And this is a free Zoom session, and it's very valuable. You're going to get the recording on that. But the most important thing is steal a couple ideas, a few nuggets from some of these folks. How did they make it? Make the connection, create a mentor if you can, because they will be willing to give you and answer any questions that you want. And certainly Sean and Galen will pass along my email. And at the CLC, it's really hard to get into. It's really competitive. Our officials come not just from Ohio or Michigan or Illinois like it did when I came into the league. And if you were from Iowa or Minnesota or Wisconsin or on the outlier line states, you were lucky to get in. But today we come from over 30 states in the United States. It's really competitive. People are applying. We have a feeder program. We're probably known for our training, and a lot of the people that are on this call came through the system, and some of them are trainers and scouts. And John's one of them. He's a contributor. He always will be to the Big Ten and the CLC. And it's with my pleasure to announce that John not only will give us a spectacular message for you, but he's always there to help you too. So reach out to him. And John, I'll throw it over to you. Good to see you again. And it's always a pleasure. I hope you don't go through all the details and all of our mistakes, but certainly we've had a lot of big plays that we'd shake our heads and go home and say, oh man, we screwed that one up, but we bounced back. John, it's over to you.
Thank you, Bill. It's interesting because today's June 26th, whatever it might be. I think the last time Bill and I spoke might have been late in May. So it's been 30 days or more. And so much of what you said are my thoughts this morning. So it must resonate. It must be important. I've heard Sean talk about it. Obviously, you just spent some time with it. It's as if you just gave my talk. So I would encourage you to take advantage of page 14 of your agenda. If you don't know what page 14 is, you are behind probably 75% of the people that are on this call, which is how you move forward. Page 14, if you're not aware, is a page dedicated by the people that there we go. I'm not sure if all of that was muted or if it clicked off. But page 14, take a look. You got a bunch of space for notes, and I would encourage you to take advantage of that during the day. I'm going to go shotgun on you. I got 20 minutes. It's tough to come up with something that you can resonate in 20 minutes. So I'm going shotgun. I'm giving you my best of the best. Hopefully one or two of these will resonate with you moving forward, make you a better official, make you a better father, make you a better husband, whatever the case may be. Number one, if you got kids, if you're thinking about having kids, buy a book. Matheny Manifesto, Mike Matheny, catcher, St. Louis Cardinals. Matheny Manifesto. It will change you as a parent. For those of you that potentially will have kids that will play sports. Date night. I started it probably when I was around 30 with my wife. I married a gal that had no concept of officiating. She couldn't believe that I did it. She didn't really understand it. Where did I go? What did I do? I think the big day for her was when I came home. I'd spent an entire day. I flew to Miami, spent my own dollar, worked an arena football scrimmage, interviewed with the great Carl T. Paganelli. I was there all day. I flew back home, came home, and when my wife asked, she said, what do they compensate you? How do they pay you for a scrimmage, an interview? Do they? And I was embarrassed to tell her and show her that I had $300 in Miami Hooter gift cards. That's how I was compensated. So she, of course, where's this going to end? Where does it go? You're gone on Wednesdays and Thursdays and Fridays and Saturdays. Obviously, it worked out pretty decent, but I would encourage you, if you are married, you have a significant other, maybe you're a single parent, design and dedicate and put it in the calendar where you have a date night. Spend time with your kids at a dinner table, out for dinner, get a babysitter, take your wife out for something, take your husband out, whatever it may be. You think about the amount of time that you dedicate to your hobby, what you love doing. All that while they're sitting at home. And we all know that officiating has ruined the marriage and some relationships because everybody focuses on the wrong priority. Don't be afraid to go before you're ready. What does that mean? Boy, I don't think I'm not ready for the Big Ten. I'm not ready for the National Football League. I'm not ready to make that jump from high school to D3. Fear is a pretty good motivator. And if you are prepared, you will have no problem making whatever jump you attempt to make. In 1998, I came home and told my wife we were buying our second home. Our first home was exactly how probably most of you imagine. It was a starter home. We didn't have a lot of money. I was a corporate pilot. She was a court stenographer. We had school debt and paying things off. And the second home that I came home to say we're going to buy, my wife looked at me and she said, "You're crazy. We can't afford it." We figured out a way to do it. 2 years later, I moved to Ohio. It was the best investment I ever made. Fear? Yes. Do we make it work? Yes. In over 2 years, I made $100,000 on that purchase. But for 12 months, we feared that we couldn't make the mortgage payment. In 2005, as Bill knows, I moved my family from Indianapolis to Ohio without a security net. I was officiating the NFL, so there was income, but as these guys know that are working that level, one health risk. Bob Wagner is a perfect example. Had a tough time with a heart issue at one point. Recovered, fully recovered, has had a great career after that. I was one step away from that myself. But it took a risk. It was best for my family to move to Ohio, a support system, and it worked out. 2018, I was bored with officiating. I hated officiating. It was mundane. Been there, done that. And I was young. I had years to go. I had kids that were going to be going to college. I loved the game of tennis. So I reached out to the USTA. Said, I want to be a gold chair umpire. Now, there's only 7 gold chair umpires in the world, but that's what I wanted to be. They said, well, you have to start at the bottom. I said, no problem. You tell me where to be, you tell me what to do, and I will do exactly that. I don't need you to pay for my flights. I don't need you to do anything. I need to reinvent myself, reinvigorate myself, get the fire in the belly back. Long story short, that poster I'm more proud of that poster than I am of 3 Super Bowl rings. In the first year of officiating tennis, I worked 3 days at the US Open. Don't be afraid. And I wasn't ready. I just pretended like I was ready. I told everybody, absolutely, I'm ready to go. I can do the long line with Rafa, Roger, Serena, whoever you want to put me on, whatever court you want to put me on. Now, they didn't put me on center court, but I was disappointed with that, but I did get to go. I never refereed. Never refereed. My 12th game, wearing a white hat, as Bill Carollo knows, because it's because of him, was a National Football League game. Never was a side judge. I was a line of scrimmage guy. That's where they put all the first year people, safe zone, well protected. I'd never worked side judge. My first game as a side judge, National Football League. Don't be afraid to move forward. The fear of your failure will motivate you to be successful. I was rarely the best official on the field. But as Bill said, and I appreciate the comment because that means a great deal. But I was always, every time I worked, I always felt like I was the most prepared official on the field. Not the best skilled, but the most prepared. And I remember, as if it was yesterday, at 17 years old, during the summer, we lived across the middle school, which had a football field. And this is a true story. I was across the field doing bear crawls at 17 on the football field. And my mother came out and said, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm working this fall, Pop Warner. You know, they got me in at night after school, after we practice. I get to go from there to go to Ames Field. And she said, well, so what are you doing bear crawls for? I said, well, I got to be in shape for Pop Warner. So from the get-go, it was the German in me, I suppose. What instilled, Bill said it, what your parents instill in you. Preparation, you can't replace it. If you take anything out of today, preparation. Best example of that, 2012 Super Bowl 46. In the final meeting where we're breaking down film, I had 63 plays. 23 were intentional groundings by Eli Manning and Tom Brady. And I won't say who it was, but there's an official that's in the meeting and he says, okay, John, we get it. Intentional grounding, you're concerned with it. No, they didn't realize that year, those two were the best at avoiding it, and rarely was it called. So we continue with looking at every one of the intentional groundings that I had pulled in preparation. And I put them in categories, category A, B, C, and it was the type: middle throw, no receiver; out of the pocket, in the pocket, category D, dumps it at the feet. I had all these categories. First play from scrimmage with Tom Brady, for those of you that recall that game, is an intentional grounding. And I got all the kudos for calling it. But what's great is Tony Sterator, who was the back judge, came running into me, and he didn't say, hey, there's no receiver in the area. I think we might have grounding. Tony Sterator says, this is category C. He's in the pocket, under pressure, balls beyond, no player in the area. This is your category C. So easily we bang out an intentional grounding to start a Super Bowl. We get it because we're ready. We get it because we're prepared. Your hobby lies inside a massive business. It is fun, and it is a hobby. It is an avocation, but you're living inside a massive business. So unless you begin to treat yourself as a business, you will not move forward. You need to create a referral business. All those, the nice things that Bill said about me, I mean, that's touching. And that's the referral business. When they say, what do you think of this official? And those type of words come out. That's how you move forward. Understand Schedule C of the IRS, what you can and cannot deduct, how to use a self-employed IRA. Why? Because it impacts your family. Understand your clients. You have clients. Bill Carollo is a client of yours. You're trying to sell product to Bill Carollo. The coaches of the teams, the players, the equipment managers, the chain crew, the ball boys, all those people are your clients. You have a product. You hope that your product's better than everybody else. You have to sell yourself. You have logistics, how to get from point A to point B most efficiently. All this is business. And until you begin to treat yourself the John Parry officiating business, it will always be a hobby. And listen, the truth is, you're going to leave on a Friday night, you're going to leave, spend half a day Saturday, if not longer. Why don't you get to where you can put the most money in your bank account for your family? That doesn't mean the National Football League is best, because it's not. They do not have the best officials. Sadly, they should, they don't. It's a business there. It's not as much fun as the Big Ten. I've done both. Big Ten wasn't as much fun as arena football. The most enjoyment that I've ever had with football and officiating was the last 2 or 3 years watching my son play high school. If you're a high school official and you like doing that, stay there. We need you. We love you. You're impacting those kids. And it is the best football you will ever work, because there's no money tied to it with coaching or playing. Be the best you can at whatever level you want to achieve. You gotta take this business and you have to say to yourself, the approach to what you do will give you the results that you deserve. Preparation, I don't like to use that word, because most of you do not know how to prepare. We are like untrained hunting dogs. We go this way for a while, then we go this way, and then the phone rings, and then we get a text, and we got to respond to that, and we have all these distractions. Intentional preparation is different. Intentional preparation it means it's scheduled. It doesn't have to be on a calendar, but you need to know what it's going to be. And it needs to have zero, none, no distractions. If your phone's sitting by you, it's a distraction, I'll promise you. Even if it doesn't do anything, because you want to take a look to see if you've gotten any texts. Texas is a state. So you need intentional preparation. give yourself 30 minutes a day is all you really need. And you need to create a system. How many minutes do I spend on the book? How many minutes do I spend on video? Which days do I do what? Did I get them accomplished by the end of the week? I always did them in the morning. I would get up before my kids and my wife got up, so nobody saw me doing it. I didn't want my kids to think that football officiating was way over them and they were second fiddle. I think they still feel that way to some degree because it requires so much time, sadly. But you have to have a preparation to performance ratio that is appropriate. If you're in high school, as a father, I hope you spend 3 hours a week. If you're working D3, JUCO, D2, I would hope that maybe you got 5 to 10 hours in of preparation. D1, Big Ten, NFL, Ron Torbert, Sean Smith, they'll all tell you, whoever else is on this call, I worked with people that had 0. I lost some friends because I would say, you will never be back on my crew because you're not prepared. I'd rather take the worst official that at least puts effort in. 30 to 40 hours a week, if you're a D1 or a National Football League official, is what you have to find to be prepared. To do that, you got to subtract distractions and subtract the complicated. Stop focusing on stupid rules. Yeah, we had a double width, double after, the goalpost came down and the lights went out and the announcer didn't have a microphone. What are you going to do? Why do we even spend time on those questions? First touching with a double width, double after, and coach came out on the field because he thought the play was over. You know what? There's 2 fouls in the play. Both teams had a change of possession by rule. We replay the down. It's probably not the case, but 9 out of 10 people in America, if you said it right, would believe you're right. There'd be one guy on Twitter that he'd dig into the Big Ten rule book and figure out that, hey, you know what? Greg Blum did this wrong and it should have been. Who cares? No one cares. Lastly, and then I give you an opportunity to do some Q&A, I guess. This one I stole. Good habits are hard to form and easy to break. Bad habits are easy to form and hard to break. Drinking, smoking, working out, eating dinner as a family. When you got teenagers that are all over the world, all over the globe with, I got practice and I got this. Good habits are hard to form and easy to break. Bad habits are easy to form and hard to break. I'll give you the most simplest example. I see some of you are writing. How would you teach somebody to stop the clock? It's an incomplete pass. Runner runs out of bounds, not even touched, he just runs out of bounds. How would you teach a 20-year-old person that's beginning to officiate high school football? How would you teach how to stop the clock? Most of you are writing will whistle, blow, 3 signals. Maybe some of you included, hey, continue to watch the action, dead ball officiate, whatever the case may be. Most officials never look at the clock to ensure that the clock is stopped. What's the biggest issue you can have? Loss of down and a timing issue. When the game is tight, you're inside 2 minutes, inside 5 minutes, whatever the case may be in a college football game or a high school football game. Clock is supposed to stop and it continues to run. Now 4 or 5 people get together to try to figure out what the clock should be. Total nightmare, even though you've had a 2.5-hour great day. Habits. Blow the whistle, give the appropriate signal to stop the clock, dead ball officiate. I don't know how long. Every one of those plays is different. You got to feel it. Some might be 5 to 10 seconds and you're going into the bench. Some might be a half a second because there's nothing going on. But at some point, take a look up and see if the thing has stopped. If it is continuing to run, at least you know 11:21, but I'm killing the clock. So when the referee or whomever says, what should it be, it was 11:21. That's the habit. Dominate detail with appropriate preparation, with appropriate habits, and you will become an outstanding football official. And I wish I'd have known some of this stuff many, many years ago. 35 years or so ago, I was going to a similar clinic. It was J.W. Sanders in, I don't know what the heck that little town was in Illinois, but everybody said, you got to go. And if you get lucky enough, you might be able to meet J.W. Sanders. And he controls the hiring. Nah, it doesn't work that way anymore. Let me just tell you, if you're young, people reach out, the Bob Wagners of the world, the Bill Carollos, different supervisors. Hey, who do you really think is a really good official? Who's working at it? Who should I be bringing up next? It's not so much these clinics anymore, which was very political. That's another story, another day. I'm thrilled that y'all are here. I don't know, Sean, if we got time, I'm happy to do some Q&A. Otherwise, I'll let you guys roll.
No, JP, no, we appreciate it. And yeah, we definitely have some time for some questions. So we'll just open it up to anyone on the call. If you have a question for John Parry, unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, hi, John. I have a question. My name's Gary Gaspis. You mentioned you were talking about intentional grounding, you had different categories that you slotted. Can you share with us those categories?
Well, that was 2012.
So you have a good memory.
I'm an old man. No, it was all the things that you would anticipate. And I won't pretend to know high school, college rules. I know they're pretty similar, but of course, for the NFL, it was in the pocket, out of the pocket. So it could be in the pocket was category A, not under pressure, not under duress. It's an easy one to miss because the ball goes flying and you think that's got to be grounding. Yeah, but there was no pressure. Category B probably was intentional grounding in the pocket, under pressure, no receiver, beyond the line of scrimmage. C, under pressure in the pocket, dumps the ball behind the line. I mean, you can just create whatever scenarios you want. I don't remember what they were specifically, but I had watched Tom Brady and Eli Manning's last 3 games. I'm like, man, that's grounding. Why isn't anybody calling that? That's grounding. That's a problem. So that's where it came from. And we got fortunate. We got it right.
Perry, I have a question. I know years ago I went to a clinic and you were there presenting. I think it was after the Super Bowl, and you talked about just the concentration. And I don't know if you remember that presentation or but if you could just speak to the philosophy on just the time of a football play and the amount of concentration you need to have on each play or within the game. And I know you kind of talked about on concentrating in distractions earlier, but I think it was like 6 points something seconds or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Do you recall that?
I do. I probably know it better today than I did even then, because now I get to work with the media junkies, and all they're really concerned with is what's the rating for 3 hours. So that's a hard world for me to live in right now. But hey, at the end of the day, you watch a 3-hour football game, you got 153 plays on average for the NFL. College is probably 173, maybe 183. I'm not sure. I don't track that, but it is up because it's a faster paced game. High school is probably in the 120s, 130s, maybe. And each one of those, if we assume it takes 6 to 10 seconds, which it doesn't, it takes generally less than that. You're talking about 23 to 26 minutes of football, actual football, within a 3-hour window, which gives you plenty of time to get beer, chips, everything else. So what you do during that period of time is like Sean is mentioning, is the focus. Can I stay focused for 23 to 25 minutes in a 3-hour window? And then what do I do with the other time? And everybody has different things they do. I would tell you that if I could go back and take back one thing, I would say, excuse me, I always took myself too serious. It's just who I am. So one of the joys of working with Bill Carollo, who was like a comedian on the field, during the non-football period, and Bill, and I say that lovingly, by the way. I mean, a good, perfect example is, he said, we had a replay in Cleveland, and he says, come with me, listen to this. I'm like, oh boy, what's he gonna do now? It was a down by contact, was a knee down, was it a fumble? And Butch Davis had thrown the challenge flag, and Carollo tells Butch, he says, you can't challenge it unless you tell me left or right knee. He's like, I have no idea. How would I know whether it's a left or right knee? All I know it's a knee. It's Bill, so I'm not reviewing it. And started to walk away. And Butch Davis is on his headset screaming at the people up in the press box, I need to know left knee or right knee. And he came up with something. Bill said, I think that's the one. I will go look at it now. And it was educational because it relieved the tension, it relieved the pressure. I, of course, was laughing, chuckling, and I think Bill did it purposely because he knew that John Parry takes himself too serious. As a crew chief, there were guys that you had to do that, so I would have fun with them. I've made an official cry on the football field. I'm embarrassed to say I did it. I undressed him verbally. I love him today. I can tell you his birthday. I would hug and kiss him today if I saw him, but I loved him so much as a brother that he needed his ass chewed, and I did. The great catch in the Super Bowl that we were talking about earlier at the sideline, Laird Hayes, who makes this call and gives speeches afterwards because he nailed it. 5 minutes before that catch, I said, you better wake up, man. You're like in la la land. I'm looking down here and I'm not getting any response. I'm not getting any substitution signals. Clock. I mean, what are you doing? And he was just PRing with the sideline. Super Bowl's coming to a close. 5 minutes later, boom, sideline catch. Look, man, you gotta you gotta be prepared and you gotta be focused. You gotta find your way. Everybody's way is different. But I appreciate you bringing up focus because it's a big part of what we do.
No, thanks. We appreciate you, JP. That's awesome, man. You do a great job. You always done a great job, and you were someone that I definitely looked up and tried to pattern myself after, and watching you, and I'll never forget you. Let us participate in your pregame in the Super Bowl back in 2012. I think it was me, Alex, and oh goodness, geez, why I can't Ransom and Todd Ransom. So no, we appreciate that, man. But no, this was great information. We appreciate you taking out some time out of your busy schedule to to share and give back to us fellow officials, and it's just awesome. So again, on behalf of the MDFOC, we appreciate you and thank you for participating in the clinic. And if you want to stay on, you can.
Hey, Sean.
Thanks again. Yep.
Hey, Sean, this is Rod Swarber. I wanted to jump in. I don't have a question. I just wanted to take issue with one thing that John said. You made a point. You said, John, you were rarely the best official on the field, and I'm just going to take issue with that. I spent a year on John's crew early in my NFL career, and I spent a season with John in NFL Europe, and I'm just going to tell you, you were always the best official on the field. So thanks for sharing some thoughts with us this morning. I took a lot of notes.
Thanks, Ron.
Yeah, no, this is awesome, man. I was super excited when I was able to get you, man, to when the dates align and you were able to join us. So this is awesome. Really appreciate it.
Well, I'll leave it with that and I'll let you guys roll, and I'll be very short. Bill said it earlier, you just said it. I know what Ron does and everybody else on attempting to give back. But my opinion is officiating is in trouble. And that's another story, another day. Globally, multiple sports are in trouble. So I would encourage everybody that's participating here, like myself, to give back in some way that you can. Give back. Thank you. Have a great day.
Yep. All right. Thanks again. So with that, we'll switch it over, and I'd just like to make one announcement. So one of our what I want to say host, Harold Betty, is having some technical issues. As those who live in the Metro Detroit area know, we got a ton of rain yesterday, and floods are all over the place, and all of his connections are out. So he was going to host the new officials breakout session as well as the line of scrimmage breakout session. So if you're in those, I'm going to post the link in the chat. So I'll post the link for the new officials first, and then I'll post the link for the line of scrimmage in there as well, and I'll note it. But if you have any questions, or if I need to email it to you, you can send it to me or text me at 313-820-4288, and I'll be sure to get it to you. But that's, you know, that's something that we're dealing with right now. So I just want to say, for the new officials and then the line of scrimmage, we have new links that you'll have to use for those meetings. So with that, I'll kick it back over to Galen, and he has a few words, and he'll introduce our clinicians for today.
Thank you. Thank you, John Parry. We do appreciate you. I'm scheduled to announce our clinicians. I'm not going to announce them all. We have a lot of great clinicians on today. I've sent out the list of each clinician and their positions and what they'll be doing this afternoon or this morning and their accomplishments. Again, please make sure you reach out to those clinicians and get any questions answered. They are some of the best officials in the country. I've had the opportunity to work with each one of them. That's why I chose them, because I've built a relationship with them, and I have learned so much from each and every one of them. And I thought that you too as well could learn from them and benefit from the knowledge that they share. I would also like to recognize we have Craig Griffith on with us this morning. Craig is the supervisor of the Mid-States Football Officiating Consortium, and Craig will speak later on this afternoon. He has some encouraging words for you as well, and he would like to discuss some of the things that he looks for when he is hiring newer officials. So we will give Craig the opportunity to speak this afternoon, but I just wanted to say thank you, Craig, for jumping on. I'm not going to hold you guys, because you guys do not want to hear from me. So if there are no questions, we're going to go on to our breakout sessions. And again, Sean will put those links in the chat. We have some minor changes. Just be patient with us, with this being our first Zoom clinic. And this technology thing, we know it's a great thing, but sometimes it can be challenging. So we're going to do our best to make sure that everything runs smoothly today. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to email any of us on the committee, and we will get back to you as soon as possible today. So I have a great day, and I look forward to learning from each and every one of our clinicians, as well as hearing the great questions and things that you guys will share with us and ladies this afternoon. All right, Sean, I'm good.
All right. Thanks for that. So again, I posted the links out there for the new officials. So if you can copy that and paste it in a Word document or copy it somewhere, so you'll be able to click on that link, and that'll be able to take you to that Zoom session, because the way Zoom works, you can only be in one Zoom session at a time per computer. So I'll leave it up there for you to copy and paste it for the new officials, and then the line of scrimmage breakout sessions. But again, if you can't get in, just click on, like I said, don't hesitate to call me, 313-820-4288, and we'll make sure that you get your information and you're in the right session. But we appreciate everyone. So with that, we'll take like I guess it's a 9-minute break, and then the next sessions will start at 10. So again, just go back to your meeting invite, click on the link for the session that you signed up for, the session that you're supposed to attend, and then join those sessions, and then we'll have our breakout session after that. So I think we're good here.